Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacy style. And today I am super excited to do an unboxing. It just arrived today and I ran out as soon as I was finished with clients and went to the mailbox and grabbed it. So we are going to be exploring the Blood Moon Tarot, the well-anticipated, well-awaited tarot that has gone mass market but started off as an indie, and I would kill for an indie deck of it, but it's $450 that I just don't have to spend. So let's check out the mass market, and this is by Sam Gway. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so we are checking out the Blood Moon Tarot. And I gotta tell you guys, I discovered this. It's by US Games. I discovered this in one of my late night, terribly bored, looking for something to do, and I was on Etsy. Was it Etsy or was it eBay now? I can't remember actually, but I came across it and had no idea who this person was, saw the artwork, came across his website in particular and said, oh my God, I need this deck. And so I went to, try and buy it or whatever. And I was like, this is a big thing. This is a big deal. So I've probably missed the boat on it, as I have with a lot of different things, because it took me a while to figure out that this was a thing. I thought it was just me that loved tarot in this way, and discovered, no, it's not. There are other people that do this and have been doing it for quite some time. So here we are, and here I am. And now here is the Blood Moon Tarot. So I did find it. Like I said, it was $450 for the indie print. That's a gift for when I win the lottery. And in the meantime, I discovered that they were going to be doing a mass market version of it. And so here we are. First of all, US Games is doing this, and they're doing a really good job so far. It is a larger deck. We have the Blood Moon Tarot. There's some beautiful description and filigree in gold here. And I like that it's kind of a muted gold, not a super shiny gold. The box is gorgeous. Already loving the imagery that we're seeing here. It definitely has kind of a US Games feel to it. And I know that's not what the original creator's style necessarily is, but let's see how it's adapted. Wow. So it comes with a hardcover guidebook. Ooh, that's so cool. And look at the hands. The eyes are on the hands. And then it's like it's being shown the third eye. It's like we're seeing a separate creature, but you've got a woman wearing a hat and her one eye is the third eye. Ooh, I love that. So freaking clever. Loving the color that they have used for this guidebook. Everything is in color. Wow, this is beautiful. The wheel. So the descriptions are really, I want to say thorough. It looks very thorough, but also, I won't say short, sweet, and to the point, but like enough. So the Tower, cleansing, undoing, release. So you have the keywords, then you have the description, and then it says, this card asks. And I always love a good guidebook that gives you question prompts, gives you food for thought, questions to give you something to kind of go a little bit deeper with each of the cards. After a while, I don't know if this is the same for those of you who read tarot like I do, that there are days when I just don't have the energy to ask a deeper question or to come up with the deeper question. I want to have the deeper answer, but I often am just like, when it comes to the question. So when you have a creator who asks those questions, I always feel like it's really, really helpful. This is beautiful. So we have skins, songs, dreams, and skin, songs, dreams. Oh, interesting. Earth, manifestation, pentacles, honey. Honey, okay. So honey is pentacles. Skins, I'm going to assume, is wands, but let's see. Yep. wands, and then we have songs, which is going to be swords, words. Oh, I lied. Water, emotions, and cups are songs. Okay, that took me by surprise. So then dreams must be the swords. Yeah, air, thought, swords, dreams. Oh, beautiful. Okay, we'll definitely have to do a reading from the guidebook. And look at this presentation. Oh my goodness. Like, just so well done. I love anything with a ribbon. It's like bejewel bedazzle. I love anything with a bejewel bedazzle on it. So it comes shrink wrapped. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that's not always my fave because I hate the idea of damaging the cards before I've even seen the cards. But I'm going to do my best here to create a working tear. There we go. I think I got one. There we go. Hopefully I have not damaged the cards. These are beautifully etched. It looks like they are etched in a, like for the blood moon, like a blood color, and it's a muted. So I love that. I always love a muted. Oh, linen cardstock. You know, I just recently found out that there's a big school of thought out there that there are a lot of people that don't like the linen. I don't understand that. I love the linen. They shuffle beautifully. They feel really good in the hands. They look nice. You can still have a sheen without it being too shiny. I always think it's incredible. And speaking of sheen and shine, let me turn that light on. Oh, okay. So there we go. There's the sheen and the shine. So yeah, we'll just turn this off and we'll go back to this. So this is gorgeous. So we have this beautiful blood color. It's kind of a purpley red color, not rust. I like that, purpley red. And then we've got that muted gold. And it looks here like it is reversible. And we have a beautiful angel, woman with long hair, angel wings. So an angel with long hair. It looks like there are some interesting, this is a bird who I feel is either trying to pluck her eye out or is trying to give her a different eye, giving her the gift of an eye. There are a lot of snakes and dragons moving things around. So I feel like, you know, and they're all around the moon here. So I feel like they're giving the essence of the elements without being on the nose with the elements. And let's see how this starts. Beautiful. Okay. So here we've got the Fool card. Wow. So the big door opening, you know, coming out of the cave and walking into the light. And we have hands on the doors. We have a figure looking over the person that is getting ready to come in, almost like guardian watching things. That is incredible. Here we have the magician. So the cardstock is very much a US Games. So it's thin like a US Games cardstock, but it is linen. So it is, I want to say, maybe even a little higher quality than the regular. And here we have the magician. Beautiful. This is one of the images that I remember seeing when I was looking at the original deck. And I love music. That's sort of my background. And so I absolutely love anything that is kind of indicating music, musicianship, things of that nature. And I feel that this is a great depiction because we have a lute. He's playing the lute, but then there again, we have all of these other hands that are coming out, maybe to support him, maybe to inspire him. This makes me think a little bit of the muses. We're not seeing figures or faces, but they definitely have the feeling of female hands to me. So it says to me, the muses. Let's take a look here. The high priestess. So here we have a crypt, a grave. We have a dead body, skeleton here. With flowers, it looks like holding flowers. Actually, that's not a flower, that's a pomegranate. Now that I'm looking a little bit closer, we've got a little bit of the water. So the moon is looking over and, you know, observing the water. This is kind of interesting because the high priestess I've never seen as depicted as a skeleton before, but perhaps it's being shrouded in the intuition and that's how it's coming to life. You know, from a spiritual perspective, we often can say, or there's a school of thought out there that says that, yes, we're having this life, we're having this human life, but because it is so different from life as we know it, that our awakening journey to get to the other side of life is really like the ascension process. That's when life really begins. I don't know kind of where I stand on that or not, but that's what this is putting me in mind of is, coming to life, understanding that intuition is I'm going to say it's available to everyone, but it's a rite of passage in a lot of ways. Oops. The Empress. Oh, beautiful. So loving the diversity in this deck already. Really taking note of that. This makes me think of autumn colors. Definitely feeling, the yellows and the oranges. She's coming out of the light and, sort of stepping into the abundance that is afforded her. That's very beautiful. The Emperor. Interesting. He is being projected here in the color green. A bit unexpected. There's a seed that he is planting or laying on the ground, giving it a chance, giving it a shot. Here we have a castle. So this is his fortress, and he's overseeing everything. There are trees and branches. It's interesting that they're wrapped around his arms, almost as though he is like trapped in the body. That this is his purpose. And if he wants to do something other than that, there's going to be some level of negotiation there. That's really interesting. Here we have the Hierophant. Wow, that's quite a contraption on this guy's head. I have to kind of chuckle. Very reminds me a little bit of Ciro Marchetti, and the Ciro Marchetti work that blends a lot of medieval and I want to say Venetian culture, ancient Venetian culture with futuristic stuff. And that's what this feels like. So it's like a compass and a sextant and I don't know, all sorts of things here. And he's in, it looks a little bit like a churchy kind of energy, which would make sense with the Hierophant, that popey energy. I like that he is looking in our direction. He is looking down, but he is looking in our direction. That's really interesting. I like that he's scribing something as well, but he's not looking at what he's writing, which means that it's by rote. The Lovers. Oh, this is beautiful. So kind of a nod to the Adam and Eve, with the apples here, the juice running out of the apples, kind of indicating the knowledge, tapping into the knowledge, tapping into the wisdom. Lots of moths and butterflies here that are being reflected, change, transformation that is happening. I'm going to go on a limb here and say this is Adam. And it's interesting that Adam is the one that's being represented as the tree, the apple tree. So Adam was the temptation, not the tree and not the snake. So I kind of like that. Here we have the Chariot. This is interesting. It's like magic carpet. I love that. And I love there are swans here. You guys know I love a swan. Swan is that starseed energy, and I just really feel a connection to that. Strength. Again, loving the diversity. I'm loving this particular individual. Even though it's extremely uncomfortable because he's bloodying up his fingers, it almost puts me in mind of him playing an instrument. Like the way he's grabbing his sleeves and everything, and the way he's grabbing the blades. I mean, obviously he's uncomfortable. And, inner work is uncomfortable. Getting caught up in the ego is uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to do hard things in order to discover what we are made of. But it almost looks like something that he's learning to play. So the effort that goes into learning a skill. The Hermit. Oh, beautiful. So here we have a naked figure. Well, actually, here we have some fur. With Mr. Neo making his presence known. And now we have this beautiful naked figure. It's like she's sitting on an egg. There's a lot of life force coming out of this creature, whatever this is. We see her eyes, and that's kind of all we see. Her eyes are lit up, everything else is kind of in shadow. We see some, hints of villages or castles in the background. It's very stormy. Definitely indicates that self-awareness journey. Definitely indicates having to go deep. Going deep within where it's not super obvious. Okay, Fuzz, you make a better door than a window. Thank you so much. Okay, here we have the wheel. Beautiful. So I want to say a similar nod to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith in that they always show sort of the four elements represented. What's interesting here is I feel actually like there's more than just four that are being shown. The wheel doesn't focus on the compass points. The wheel shows that any way you spin it, you can land on something. Here you would land on nothing. Here you would land on an interesting figure. Here you would land on an interesting figure. So really that chance, taking a chance. Justice. Oh, wow. So we're seeing the back of Lady Justice. This is interesting. Her arms are down here. At first, when I looked at it, I thought her arms were spread out. It's the armor that she's wearing that is giving her these, broad shoulders. And in many ways, that is justice. Truth. You have to have broad shoulders in this world to walk in your truth and to stand in your truth. We have a beautiful eagle being represented here. I think that's an eagle as well. Maybe a bald eagle. I don't know my birds very well, so I apologize if I've got that wrong. This kind of gives me the feeling of like a sparrow, although it has like a kind of a twin tail. I'm not familiar with birds that have twin tails. She's holding the sword here. I like that we're seeing the back of her. I don't know why. There's just something about that. It's watching it in action, I guess is how I would put that. The hanged man or the hanged one. Okay, so here we've got the snake that is holding up the individual. So snakes are transformative. Snakes are wisdom and knowledge. Snakes are also, a portent of or a warning of evil or evil doing or treachery. Or I often see in readings for people when somebody is out to get them or there's some kind of weirdness going on, it's a snake in the grass. And you want to be careful of this person because they're not being completely honest with you, or they're targeting you for some reason. I know I just made it sound like that happens all the time, and like I give readings. That's not the case, but we all have those situations where especially at work, we can't always trust everybody that we end up working with, and we can't always choose the people that we work with. If we've chosen a job and we're happy at a job, then we have to kind of work within the environment that is provided. So definitely feeling that. So this would give a really interesting reading depending on, which way intuitively I would kind of feel the snake. I also like the moths here as well. Moths are, just like butterflies, only they change and grow in the moonlight rather than in the sunlight, right? So shadow work. Death. I love that she's shrouded. We're seeing the tears of the dove that are representing her tears as well. That's beautiful imagery. Here we have the Temperance card. Very interesting. She looks like a mythical figure. I'm liking the green and the orange. So orange is the sacral chakra, sexuality, sensuality, creative expression and flow, the ocean of our emotion. And green is healing, healer, healed. This kind of makes sense when you are coming off of a phoenix burning experience, a death experience. You need a little bit of time to recharge and regroup. You need some time to heal some of your wounds and to be creative about what your next steps are. So I like that interpretation. Here we have the Devil card. Oh, and he's holding the mirror. And there's light coming out of the mirror. There's an infinity sign here. Also, you could interpret it as like a keyhole. And he's afraid to look at his face. He's maybe got some shame about the choices that he's made, or trying really hard to break out of or break free from some of his past choices in order to be able to grow. But in order to do that, you got to face yourself first. The Tower. Interesting depiction. So this feels like a totem pole, a totem tower. I apologize if that is an old term and no longer politically correct. Not trying to disparage anyone, but it does feel like a totem from the indigenous people. And it is coming down. And what I'm seeing with this is, in many ways, if we're speaking about the indigenous, it's the having to come to terms with the fact that we did these horrible things, right? And that they have endured a lot of hardship, a lot of towers falling, things that they created that no longer exist. Just kind of feeling some of that energy. Okay, so this has some nudity. So I'm going to just do this. But I will say that with the star card, you guys know I always love a star card, and a good star card is going to indicate whether or not I'm going to enjoy the deck. I love her face. I love the imagery of her. She looks very young to me. And that's interesting. You don't often think of a star card as the star of the star card being youthful necessarily, not old, just not young. She feels a bit young to me. And she's got all of these beautiful swans around her, protecting her. And that swan energy, I feel, is giving her the vision for what is coming next. Beautiful. Here we have the moon card. Oh, interesting. So we're seeing masks. We're seeing faces that are connected to the different phases of the moon. Oh, I'm loving that. So depending on when you're pulling it, this card could very easily give you timings. And depending on when you pull it and what you're drawn to, it's going to indicate the particular phase of the moon. Love that. Oh, interesting. Here we have the sun card. All the light is melting away. The superfluous skin, the materials that are around him. I really love that. He's holding something that is like a teardrop, like honey dripping down. Well, that makes sense. Honey, I think, was the Pentacles energy. So I bet we're going to see kind of a resurgence of that. Beautiful. Here we have the Judgment card. So again, she's got her head adorned. She's wearing some jewelry here. So this energy of like royalty, someone in her sovereignty. We have multiple hands again that are a part of the scene, a part of the action. A lot of swirling vines, swirling snaky kind of things, indicating the wisdom. There's blood on the sword. So definitely like taking action. What will you do with this information? What will you do with this sword? What will you do? Will you answer the call? Here's the World card. This is gorgeous. Makes me think a little DNA, a little nebula, a little in the body blood work. I love that it's spiralic here. Obviously, the world is coming full circle, so a spiral is extremely fitting. Loving the colors that they've chosen. Here we have the Ace of Dreams. Okay, so this kind of fantastical creature with a lot of different eyes, crazy teeth, coming up and coming through. So definitely the feeling of a dream. I'll say to you, though, this dream does not give me fun, frilly, fancy feelings. This dream, Ace of Dreams. And it's Ace of Swords. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, right away. The dream, I think, cups, so it's going to take me a minute to get adjusted. Dreams is swords. So Ace of Swords, new thought, inspired thought. And what we're seeing here, eyes. So it feels very much like our intuition. An intuitive experience is happening here. Which eye would you like to see out of? Which perspective would you like to choose? And then, of course, we have this beautiful moth, once again, with the moth's, two eyes on its wing. On its wings, and then we've got an eye behind it as well. So definitely, like, what are you seeing? What eyes are you watching the thing from? Where are you going to receive your inspiration? Two of Dreams. So this is interesting. Normally we have, the person who's blindfolded with the two crosses or the two swords crossed in front. Here we have a lot of butterflies. So transformation is a possibility here. Again, many hands in this depiction, and which indicates, I feel like, many choices. And that muse energy, how you're being inspired, and based on that, what decisions you're going to make. Three of dreams, three of swords. So this is that card of heartbreak. And again, we're in the dream world here. So, heartbreak, when we are going through an actual physical heartbreak, well, I shouldn't say an actual physical heartbreak, when we are experiencing an emotional heartbreak, let's put it that way. When we're experiencing an emotional heartbreak, when we sleep, our dreams are often fraught with the situation at hand, different situations and scenarios, maybe things that you weren't able to say, things that you did say, things of that nature. And I feel like these creatures are trying to, get at the head, get at the thoughts, get rid of the thoughts that are in your head. Four of dreams, four of swords. So peace, this is an individual who is sleeping and they are protected. They are surrounded. Again, we have a lot of eyes, a lot of eyeballs. And again, a lot of hands, multiple hands coming through. Five of dreams, five of swords. So this card to me always is the, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy kind of card. And I love that the scene that you're initially drawn to is in the cape of the person who is supposedly the winner and walking away. And what you're seeing is the struggle. You're seeing the battle. And yeah, he won the battle, but did he win the war? And was it worth it? At what cost did he win? Six of dreams, six of swords, support and grace. Moving on to calmer shores. And I love that these larger hands, excuse me, Fuzz, these larger hands are supporting this this being who is very sad and crying. And so there is support available to her. Seven of dreams, seven of swords. So this is what we saw on the cover of the guidebook, which I think is really great. Seven of Swords is a card of integrity. It's also a card of strategy. And it's interesting. It almost looks like this person's trying to take some pictures, but also trying to hide themselves, like hiding in plain sight, making a concerted effort to cover the majority of their body so that you can't necessarily identify them. There are changes and shifts that are occurring all the time. Which change or shift will they choose? Here we have the Eight of Dreams. This is really cool. Okay, so Eight of Swords is entrapment, but on the other side of it is liberation. And what we're seeing here is this person is making a choice to fight back, or a choice to defend itself, a choice to say, no, you're not going to sink your teeth into me. And yeah, there's blood. They're going to get cut. It's not going to be easy. But when they get away from this creature, they have their life and they will heal from those wounds. It's getting out of your head, and choosing life, choosing to move forward, choosing to get unstuck. Nine of Dreams. Oh, interesting. So she's got her hands over her eyes. It makes me think of an old Star Trek character, like the salt sucker character a little bit. The two eyes on her hands, the eyeballs, makes it look almost like this is a creature. So I love the imagery in that there are different layers. It's like picture within a picture within a picture. I also like that we've got the stars, the space in the night sky. 10 of Dreams, 10 of Swords. So complete and utter ruin, right? The end of a cycle, the end of a chapter, no going back. And the eyeballs are the swords, I guess, here. The eyeballs are the dreams. Oh, we got some more nakedness. So here we have the Page of Dreams. And she's tattooed with all of these kind of viney, snaky things all over her body. And we also have that flow all around her, almost like a steam like water coming through, which I think is interesting. Here we have the Knight of Dreams. Oh, interesting. He's like a caterpillar. So when I'm looking at this, it's like he's not fully formed yet. Like he's still in the process of his transformation. Here we have the Queen of Dreams, Queen of Swords, typically a card of boundaries. Again, we're seeing multiple hands. We're seeing two different people. One person in front of the Queen has the skull, as the head. So this is kind of interesting. It looks like two people becoming one. Again, we're seeing a lot of the eyeballs, that intuition that's coming up and coming through. King of Dreams. I don't know where I got the 9 from. King of Dreams. Eyes are covered. So this king intuits everything, feels into everything, doesn't use his eyes to lead. Chains. Interesting that there are chains here. Rings, chains, breaking of the chains, but also in charge of the chains. Can link those chains at any one given time. Makes the choice how they use those chains. The chains bind. Ace of Songs. Okay, so songs, I believe, was cups. And so we have the Ace of Cups in essence. Beautiful. We're having this nautilus shell that is pouring its nutrition, its nutrients, its love into this beautiful bird. You've got lotus energy all around it. 2 of Songs, 2 of Cups, soulmate energy, working together on a project, unity, pairing, partnership. 3 of Songs, 3 of Cups, celebration, connection, community. 4 of Songs. So she's in amongst all of her swans, beautiful swan creatures. They're all taking care of her. They're all, I want to say, they've got these little nautilus shells. Either they're eating them or they're showering her in them. They all serve their purpose. She's looking a little frazzled. She's looking a little bit trapped. But this is a time of integration. And I feel like she wants to just kind of settle into it. 5 of Songs, 5 of Cups. So a card of grief. Yes, the lute is broken. 6 of Songs, 6 of Cups. Memories, nostalgia, flower petals. Everything is fresh and new. And there are other flower petals that are, kind of coming off. So it's this might be the reality, but this is where your mind is at. Your mind is on when things were fresh and new. 7 of Songs, 7 of Cups. So this is a card of choice, also dreams and illusions. And I think it's really beautiful that it's this pelican. The pelican makes up the harp that he is playing. What songs will he sing? And the nautilus shells are the cups. So he has multiple options here. What will he play? What tune will he play? 8 of Songs, 8 of Cups. So this is, delving deep, walking away, moving into something fresh and new. And here she's looking at her reflection, almost as though she's getting ready to say goodbye. And the reflection isn't exactly specific, because here she's holding a light, a cup, a nautilus shell, and here she is not. The nautilus shell is in the sky. She's got 2 birds here. Actually, she's got multiple birds, and here she's just got one. Multiple birds on the other side of it. So this is really interesting. I feel like this is what was, and after the choice, this is the choice, and there is a saying goodbye. The hair is being blown all over the place here. The hair is behind it's behind a wrap. She's ready to travel. She's ready to go, but she is saying goodbye. She's walking away, and she's doing it in honor, in ritual. 9 of Songs, 9 of Cups, wishes fulfilled. Beautiful. 10 of songs, 10 of cups. An evaluation, here's where we are at, and here's where we're going. This is the ideal outcome. And, it's the heart in your hands. Maybe you're holding your own heart in your hands. Maybe you're holding someone else's heart in your hands. But either way, it's a very vulnerable place to be. And it's also a gift, a beautiful gift that needs to be honored. Page of songs, page of cups, that creative flow. And she's watering her flowers, nurturing her garden. Knight of songs, Knight of cups. Here she's playing the conch shell. And we have these beautiful pelicans that are at her side. Queen of songs, Queen of cups. This is really interesting. It's like we almost can't see her. It's like her armor. She's protecting her heart, but she's still giving of herself. She's just doing it in a very intentional way. You don't have access to all of it and all of her, but you have access to what she's willing to share. King of songs, beautiful. He's playing the song. He's sharing the song of his heart and his soul. I love the pink. Ace of skins. So skins was wands. So here we have the Ace of wands. This is inspired action. And we've got a snake and some mushrooms coming out of the snake. Two of skins, two of wands, choosing a direction, choosing a path. And I feel like it's the snake here that is choosing the path, choosing one foot or one leg over the other, but you've got a two-headed snake here as well. That's kind of interesting. Three of skins, three of wands, expansion. And you can see there's expansion happening in his mind, as well as what he's kind of choosing in the moment. Yes, hi Fuzz. You've got an hour and a half before dinner, so you need to just move along. Thank you so much. Four of skins. So four of wands is that, establishing a foundation. This is also my contracts card, and people often see it as a marriage, but I see it as kind of a graduation. And so here we have two figures that are, I want to say, celebrating their connection, celebrating their support, and they're doing it, I want to say, in a ritualistic kind of way. Here we have the five of skins or five of wands. This is focus versus scattered energies. Thank you. Thank you. And I feel like what's happening here is she's got a lot of distraction. She's feeling tired. She's very tired. She needs a rest. Look at her eyes. She's very, very tired. Maybe she's mentally tired. Maybe she's emotionally tired. She's probably been crying. And she needs to just kind of clear her head a little bit in order to be able to understand what the best focus is going to be for her. Here we have the six of skins, six of wands. This is a card of victory. And when we're looking at the card of victory, Fuzzy, you got to move along. Okay, thank you. When we're looking at this as a card of victory, she's holding the largest mushroom. And I feel like the triumph is in the fact that what do mushrooms grow out of? They grow out of poop. They grow out of fertilizer. They grow in the dark, in the nighttime. And so this is very much a window of that we're seeing into maybe the purpose of the battle or what started the battle in the first place. I'm feeling that really strongly. Here we have the seven of skins or the seven of wands. So a card of defense. Hey, a card of defense. And I often see this card I kind of read this card differently than other people read this card, in that I tend to stop. Thank you so much. I tend to see this kind of as I call it the Brene Brown card, because it's like, okay, you've got wisdom that you've earned. Your energy is attractive and appealing to others. They want to learn from you. And in that process of learning from you, they're going to come to you because they want to light their wands from your wand. They want a little piece of what you have to offer. And as a result of that, there's an opening. What I'm seeing with this particular depiction is definitely more of a card of defense. And it's, listen, like, here's the snake. This snake is programmed for me. Like, it's mine. It's mine alone. And it's going to do my bidding and my wishes. But it can also communicate with the other snakes to let them know what you're looking for, what what your desires are. So there's a protection, and it almost feels like a gatekeeper. I feel like gatekeeper energy when I'm looking at this. Here we have the 8 of skins. So 8 of wands. This is swift release. And what's interesting here is I don't feel necessarily, we have nudity. I don't feel necessarily here that she's releasing anything as much as she is stopping and taking a moment to view what has come up, to connect with these little snakes. Maybe she is releasing them. Maybe they're her babies and she's saying, okay, now it's time for you to go forth and, figure your stuff out. I don't know. There's something different about this particular depiction for me. I don't fully get the release piece of it. I feel like it's got a deeper meaning behind it. Here we have the 9 of skins, or the 9 of wands. Interesting that his mouth is blocked off, not able to speak his truth. And the snakes are red, so root chakra energy. Maybe not feeling safe and secure, not feeling like they have all their needs met, issues of resource. And if we can't speak what we need, it's kind of hard to get what we need, right? That's really interesting. A very interesting reading that's going to give. 10 of skins, 10 of wands, rewards and the burdens that go with it. Yeah, there's a lot of abundance here. There's a lot going on, but his head is down because it's weighing on his mind. It's a lot to keep track of. It's a lot to maintain. It's a lot to juggle. Page of skins. So Page of wands. Interesting that the mushrooms are growing out of the wand energy. I find that very interesting. Almost like when we talk about page energy, it's student energy, but it's like a student of alchemy, learning how to alchemize. Knight of skins, Knight of wands, loving that they're kind of burning the leaves. Queen of skins. So here she's wearing a little bit of the skull kind of energy, which is interesting. Oh, we've got nudity. Sorry, more nudity. These little fire flames look like sperms to me. We got little spermies going on. But that's really interesting. I always love a good Queen of Wands card because it's a card of confidence, and she's an ass kicker and she takes names and she isn't really afraid to move forward or to move ahead. And I just find that really interesting. Here we have the Queen of Skins, the Queen of Wands, masked again. Not sure how I feel about him being masked. The King of Wands doesn't need to mask himself. In fact, I feel like that's his specialty. Like, that's his zone of genius, is that he's super confident, and he's confident even if he makes a mistake. He's confident about the fact that he owns his mistakes, and he's confident in doing this wild ride called life. Can he get a little hot-headed? Can he get a little, like on the other side of things, can he be a little ill-tempered at times when he's pushed? Yes, absolutely. Maybe that's what the mask is about, trying to hide those portions of him. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. Ace of Honey. So Ace of Pentacles, planting seeds. I love that we have the pomegranate here. So there's a real indication of the as above, so below, doing some shadow work, but it's dripping with honey. When you do the shadow work, you receive the rewards. You grow, you receive the benefits, and there's a bee that's working on things. 2 of Honey. 2 of Pentacles, balance. I love that. 3 of Honey. Collaborative work, paying attention to the details, learning something from the ground up. 4 of Honey, 4 of Pentacles. Again, nudity, sorry. So definitely feeling here like she's seeing that the harvest is coming in, but she's right away judging that's not enough. 4 peaches is not going to make me a peach pie. I need 40 peaches in order to make me a really good peach pie. So focusing on what she doesn't have rather than on what she does. 5 of honey. So now she got focused on the wrong things, and now those peaches are no good. They're decaying on the vine. She didn't pick them. She didn't pick them when they were ripe, or she didn't pick them when they were ready. She got busy, distracted. She forgot about them. 6 of honey. Okay, this is interesting. She's looking a little bit sad. She is trying to, sort of pick a little bit of the harvest. And I feel like maybe there is a little nostalgia, but I feel like it's also that she's kind of getting caught in the past. Well, this happened to me before, and I don't want this to happen to me again. But wow, there are so many, and I don't want to pick them, and then, they don't grow back. What if? That's what I'm feeling with this. What if? 7 of honey, 7 of pentacles. So this is reaping rewards. This is the harvest that is coming through. And I think it's really interesting that instead of showing fruit right now, they're showing flowers that are just about to bud, just about to bloom. And her eyes are closed. So she's still, I want to say, in her slumber. She hasn't realized yet that the harvest is happening. And there are bees all around that are tending this for her, making sure that she's going to have the things that she needs when she's ready. 8 of honey, so 8 of pentacles. The work, the details, bedazzling something, higher learning, higher education, mastery. I love this card. I love this figure. She's got the basket, so she's come prepared to gather things that she needs, but she's also giving back. She's not just taking, she's also giving. There's a reciprocity here that I wasn't expecting from an 8 of pentacles. 9 of honey, 9 of pentacles. So this is really interesting. This is, I want to say, where you're at a place where you're sharing your craft. You've perfected your craft, and now you're sharing it with others. And other people can take joy and pleasure in sharing these things with you. She's not speaking, but I feel like when she does speak and open her mouth, the fruits and the flowers come out. There's harvest, there's wisdom, there's nourishment that comes out of her mouth. There's nourishment that comes out of her hands as well. 10 of honey, 10 of pentacles. So we've got a skull, the portion of a skull. We've got light behind the eye of the skull, which is indicating life going on, something new happening. We've which definitely, oops, sorry, Neo is just messing with things today. So the green is healing. The green is something new. The green is heart-related stuff. And if we think of the 10 of Pentacles, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, oh my goodness, you need to stop it. We think about the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. This is the legacy card. This is the seeing the young, the middle, and the older, the generations, going through the generations, and that there is healing, there is life after. There's always something to look forward to, something that is going to keep on keeping on. And I feel like this is the skull that is bringing the new life to this tree. And we've got the mushrooms, and we've also got the bees. Page of honey, Page of Pentacles, beautiful, curiosity. Knight of honey, Knight of Pentacles. He's lost in thought. He's thoughtful, and he's lost in thought. So he's not in any hurry to get anywhere. Queen of honey. Oh, she looks fun. So she's enjoying the fruits of her labor. She's also, I want to say, very warm and inviting. Somebody that you feel you could go to and say, hey, can I have a taste of that pomegranate? Or can you share with me how you grow your pomegranates, right? How did you get your harvest? It looks like you put a lot of work into this. Teach me, show me. King of honey. So King of Pentacles. And this reminds me very much of like the Green Man in the Celtic tradition. So very much a man of the earth, very much a man that has no problems with manifesting what is required, also knows how to kind of navigate the waters of the seasons as they come up, but also kind of carries a lot of burden, worried about all the kingdom and how everything is going to happen. There's always a concern that will it be a bountiful harvest this year? Will it be a scarce harvest? Because it's all about Mother Earth and Mother Earth's. I almost said temperatures, moods. That's what I feel. Mother Earth's moods. So I'm feeling a little bit of that energy. All right. Wow. That's super, super cool. Okay. So in true Stacy style, I am going to shuffle the deck up. Oh, it shuffles beautifully. And we are going to ask this deck how it wants to work with you if you want to work with it. And I will give you my own reading, and then I'm going to pull a separate card, and we'll do a separate reading just so that we can get a feel for the languaging that is used in the Blood Moon Tarot. Okay, so we've got the wheel. So this deck is really going to work at changing your perspective on things. It's going to give you a lot of different options, but it also is going to, I want to say, just give you what it needs to give you. It's not going to mince words. It's not going to sugarcoat the messaging or the information. I'm also hearing that if you really want to know and to understand what your situation and your circumstance is, you need to have a proper dialogue with the cards itself, or the cards themselves. This is also a deck I'm hearing that you don't want to pull just one card. You are going to pull multiple cards. This is the kind of deck where you're going to be working with spreads. So like, for example, I do a 3-card pull every day as part of my tarot journal experience. It's a ritual for me, kind of sets the tone for my day. It's a bit meditative. I don't know that this deck I'm going to be able to get away with like just one card, right? So I'd have to pull 3 cards, and I would have to be very clear and concise about the question. Also, I want to say to you, you might want to pull multiple cards for one question. I feel like that's what it's trying to get me to convey, that yes, you can do a 3-card spread with this deck, but that 3-card spread would best be served if you've done 3 times 3, right? So 3 cards per reading. Okay, let's pull a card at random that we can read on. Oh, 9 of honey. Okay, this will be really fun to read on. So let's see. And I didn't notice if this actually gave spreads or not. Let's just take a quick peek at that. Yes, it does. 132 gives its own spreads. But let's see. 9 of honey. Here we go. Confidence. Make sure you can still see the card. Okay. Confidence, 9 of honey. With a pitcher of smoke and a sure hand, the beekeeper walked among the hive and drank honey with the bees. 9 is about confidence in your abilities, creating structure that gives you freedom, and allowing yourself to enjoy what you've worked for. What is your definition of confidence? Do you feel confident? Do you allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor? Do you have time to appreciate what you've built for yourself, or are you constantly engaged with work? That would be me. How can you make time for pleasure? How can you appreciate the hard work that you've done? Wow. So again, I love that it's asking probative questions. So potentially, if you pulled that card, you could potentially then pull a card for each of those questions as well to see, to go deeper, to see what more you can do. Where are you maybe missing the message? Where can you put your focus to in a deeper way? So I really feel like this deck is really going to encourage you to go deep. This is not a deck where you're going to be able to just do kind of a one-off. This is a deck that's going to speak to you. I can tell already this is the kind of imagery that is going to grow on me. I like it already. I'm not like in love with it, but I like it enough already. And I've been around the block enough times to know that this is the kind of deck, kind of like the slow tarot. I'm like, okay, the imagery might not be my favorite, but the messaging is going to kick my ass. And that's what I need. I need a deck that's going to speak truthful, speak honest, and speak plainly with me. Very much a direct message. So that's what I feel we are getting with the Blood Moon Tarot. Oh my goodness, guys. All right. So that is our divinely decked for the Blood Moon Tarot that just came out. It was a pre-order and it arrived in my inbox today, right? My mailbox today. So I was so excited to share that with you guys. Please like, subscribe, click the bell on the YouTube, share the video, all that fun stuff. Click the join button. Check out how to become a fabulous Phoenix with me so that we can do a deeper dive and keep the conversation going. Until I see you for another segment of Divinely Decked or Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life, sending you lots of love, lots of support. We will see you on the flip side and transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture, Divining the VIP Life.